All right, welcome back to Arc Salt Lake on your Wednesday. Time right now is 7:46. The Utah Historical Society is celebrating its 129th year, and part of that celebration includes the Peoples Online. This is a digital component, of our Peoples of Utah Revisited project. So for more on the project, we are joined by the Utah Historical Society Director, Jennifer Ortiz. Jennifer, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What is this Peoples Project? Let's just define this really quick for people.
So this is our our 250th celebration. We just, of course, celebrated a big anniversary on July 4th, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And so here in Utah, we really wanted to focus on Utah's history, and we actually did a revisit to a bicentennial project called the Peoples of Utah, which was a published anthology, ethnic studies anthology of people across the state. We took this opportunity in the 250th year to revisit that project and update this anthology with Peoples Online and Peoples of Utah Revisited. And so it's been an amazing project of 5 years documenting undertold stories across the state and working within communities across Utah.
How big of an update was this to go from 1976 to here?
So looking at the last 50 years, right? A lot of folks have moved to the state, maybe weren't here in 1976, and so the state's changed quite a bit demographically since 1976. We have refugee communities, we have newcomers coming from all over, both nationally and internationally, and then people that were not necessarily documented in 1976, like indigenous communities, as part of that original project. And so we really wanted to focus on where were the gaps in our history as a state, and especially being the state history institution, being able to document those stories to make sure that they're part of the state record.
When someone thinks of Utah history, they may think of the Mormon pioneers, Brigham Young coming over, and they don't consider anything else necessarily. But there's a lot to consider. We certainly had people living here long before the days of 47. Talk about including all of those populations.
Absolutely. So of course the Mormon pioneer story is critical to the state's history. But you know, we've had people here since time immemorial as we work with our tribes and documenting and sharing their stories and history. You know, we've got people representing all different communities, and I think part of the work of the Peoples of Utah Revisited, in addition to the work that the Historical Society is doing through the Museum of Utah, is to help do a little bit of myth busting on who is here and who is a Utahn, who belongs in the state. And it's been a really powerful project that has helped shape the work that the Historical Society is doing moving forward. So a lot of different people are actually here and have historically been here.
How can people see this exhibit, this project, so to speak?
It's multi-pronged. So right now we have an online component, as we mentioned, Peoples Online. It's available as a digital resource companion to the larger project. There you can look at different articles. We have story maps, so interactive maps on the website, and that is through history.utah.gov, our Peoples Online program. And then of course we have the exhibit that's at the Museum of Utah called The Past is Personal, and that really focuses not only on the bicentennial project but also the updated Peoples of Utah Revisited. It highlights 3 different communities that we've worked with. Of course we work with many different communities across this project, but you can actually go to the Museum of Utah and experience the Peoples of Utah Revisited in person. It's
worth talking about the Museum of Utah again, because we've done some stories on its sort of grand opening, but it's only been open for just a couple short months here. If people haven't heard about it, talk about what the Museum of Utah is and kind of this new space you're in.
Yeah, so the Museum of Utah, it's part of the Utah Historical Society, and we are housed up at the new North Capitol building at the Capitol Complex. And so you can come as a visitor. It's free. It's the whole first floor of that building. You come in, we've got a visitor services desk. If you've got questions, come and visit. It's 17,000 square feet. And there you're going to see 4 different galleries learning about our road to statehood, our, of course, tribal communities, the ways in which Utahns connect. The galleries are formatted through thematic approaches, and so It's not chronological. It's a little bit different than a traditional history space, but it's really a way to invite people to come and learn something new about Utah's history. Of course, we have the iconic Mormon meteor on display, so for folks who love racing history, there's going to be something for everyone at the Museum of Utah.
Coming up in September 22nd, it's the Utah History Summit. What is that?
So the Utah History Summit is a new gathering for the Utah Historical Society, and this is our opportunity to bring history enthusiasts, practitioners, and just people who are interested in Utah history. It will be housed and hosted at the Capitol Complex on the second floor in that conference room there. So again, if you've never been, come and visit. But it'll be an opportunity for us to share the Peoples of Utah Revisited work, but also gather. One of the things that we've found at the Historical Society is we need to bring together people and community and to share the work that we're doing, share Utah's history. It'll be also an opportunity to connect on issues that are facing the historical and cultural field today.
To learn more about that, where can people go?
You can go to history.utah.gov. There's information on the Utah History Summit, which is on September 22nd from 1 to 5. You'll learn more about the registration there and, of course, just the agenda for the day.
I want to go back to this People's Project as we close this out, because you said you had to work with a lot of different communities. This required a lot of cooperation, a lot of help from outside groups. Just talk about how that went and if it was difficult or not.
Yeah, so our team started talking about this back in 2020. Of course, this was, the 250th was an anniversary. A lot of us had been planning for it in the field. And as we talked about doing this work and updating that 1976 project, we identified those gaps in Utah's history and started to make those inroads with community groups that, again, may have not been reflected in Utah's history, like the Cambodian American community. And for example, we worked with the Temple in West Valley to help document their stories. And again, the work that we did was what we call non-extractive. We worked with them to create digital collections, scanning photographs or recipes, things of importance and significance to communities, to bring into the Utah Historical Society's digital collection without actually taking those items away from community. And so part of that is relationship development. A lot of cultural organizations do this work, but it's over years, right? And we're not done. Part of the beauty of the Peoples of Utah Revisited is that we continue to do this work in partnership with community groups across the state. And so, yes, it's hard, but it's also fulfilling and helps us make sure that we are including everybody's story in the state of Utah as the state history organization.
Is that what's the right word? Is that a hard-fought battle to make sure that those voices are, well, maybe not included, but making people realize that there is a lot more to Utah's history than maybe what they learn in school or something like that?
Yeah. Part of our work is inviting people to better understand sort of that larger narrative. It's not hard to make the case that everybody's story needs to be included, but I think it is surprising maybe to some that the history, again, is a little bit more nuanced, more complicated than what people might think. And so it's an opportunity to invite people in and spark their curiosity and then continue the conversation. So we try to do that in a way that feels approachable.
I know there's a lot to talk about, but is there any tidbit that you feel like you could educate me on? Like, I bet you didn't know about this.
Ooh.
That's putting you on the spot. I know. I'm sorry.
No, I think, did you know we have over 106 languages and dialects spoken in Granite School District alone in Salt Lake City.
106?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that right there, that number tells you that there's a lot more diversity in language and people who are here than maybe folks realize or recognize. And so that's important for us to serve. Again, as a state institution, we want to make sure we're serving all Utahns. And so that's part of the work. And I think it's surprising to a lot of people.
Okay, you did it. You gave me a fact that I did not know, so appreciate that, Jennifer.
Of course.
If people are interested in visiting the new Museum of Utah, let's go over the hours and the cost again, just one more time.
Cost is free. We're open 7 days a week, which I think is amazing, and we match Capitol Complex hours to the best of our ability. So we're open most days from 9 to 8 p.m. with the exception of Mondays and Sundays. Mondays we open at 11 a.m., but our hours are posted on our website at, again, history.utah.gov.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
A lot of people would be surprised. Open on Sunday, right?
Come on Sunday, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe a quiet day to visit, too, for people.
You know, the Capitol is pretty busy on Sundays.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
I learned something else now. Jennifer Ortiz with the Utah Historical Society, thank you so much for coming in and kind of educating us about all of this. We certainly appreciate it. There's a lot to learn about Utah's history.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.